I want to do a little bit of word association. You'll see why in a minute before we start the slide. So just shout out the first word that comes into your head when you hear these words. So the first one is exams. Income, stress, pressure, fear. Thank you. Success. So we're actually celebrate, happy, brave. I love it. We've done stress. So stress, it's now. Pressure. Interconnected, failure. Sad. Sad. What any kind? Oh, sorry, I thought you said either miserable, leg, or disappointment. University. I use not words, pretty sure every listener. Leave it that for now, but those are the kind of words that come up all the time when children and parents and students last. Another one, final one. A good job.
Can it obviously? Yeah.
Off the trident.
I love it. So interesting, a correlation between university and a job. For many of the parents, it's passing the 11th class, getting into a good school, getting to a good university, getting a good job. This is all about what is perceived as a good job. So our challenges are, and I will obviously give lots of time for people to share as well, it is, I imagine you experience this as much as I do. It's balancing the reality of the child, of their situation, of their ability, of their aspirations with expectation. Expectations might come from parents, they might come from the children themselves, they might come from history, from what everyone has done before. You even agrees with me about from all these things. It's about managing expectations. I've got quite a lot of stories to tell. I'll try and keep to time. You might also have anecdotes that you want to share. So very much I want this to be an inclusive environment. It's not just me. I'm not an expert. I was going to better introduce myself actually. That didn't come across very much because my name is on my logo. So I'm Charlotte. I'm from Wonderland. I am a sole trader. There is no big conglomerate. I teach 200 children or students a week in 14 groups. But those do range from year 3 all the way up to year 11. But my main focus has become the 11 plus. I never intended it to be. I was in school for over 20 years. I literally left school, like perhaps some of us, absolutely exhausted, at the bottom of the pile on the floor, having taken a lot of time under stress with the pressures of school. I literally started one-to-one, thinking that I would just call them together an existence. Funny enough, my first ever mentor Cam is here. He helped me to discover the business sense in my business woman in myself. For me though, I'm always in tutor's art. I am a tutor, I'm not a business person. Second, actually, like that came across wrong, Cam. You know what I'm trying to say? For me, it's all about the value signing as a tutor. I will never forget that. That's what is important to me. So anyway, let's have a look at how we are going to balance. Or this is actually called managing the highs and the lows. And there are amazing highs with the 11 plus. And what happened is over the year that I first started tutoring in 2016 one-to-one, many of the students in my area were going for it made sense for me to start creating groups. I live near Croydon in a place called Wallington. If you've heard of Wilson's, Sun Grammar, Wallington, etc., they're in the top 10 of the grammar school or all the school leagues in general. So it's a very highly contested area. So even with teaching that many students a week, I've still got a massive waiting list, and there is plenty of opportunity for people to school these children. Anyway, let's get over rebound. Let's have a look then. What I want you to remember is, and this is what we always must remember, even on the worst day when we've had the worst email, we've had a terrible conversation, we've had a disaster, this is who we are talking about. So here is one of my kids. They have finished their 11th class. This is an arty party at the end of the end. So we've got smiley faces mainly. Never forget this who we are talking about. We are talking about individual children, students, they've got their own lives, they've got their own hopes. And I was at the online meeting earlier about online schools, and it was all about the Henley speak French. And that's something that can be a challenge in itself, because sometimes, not always, I don't want it to sound like I'm talking as parents are the enemy. They are certainly not the enemy. We are a collaborative group. I see us as a tripartite: parents, students, tutor, and actually maybe a fourth, teachers at school, other education providers. And absolutely. You know, there is a whole range of people we are talking about together, and we must never forget we are managing all these different people and how they feel about the level. Plus, that at the end of the day, it's the child's welfare, well-being that's the most important thing. We go on about that forever, obviously. But, as I've said, we are also talking about the parents. So this was a meeting that I held to share some resources, to talk to the parents, to remind them of their part in this process. How many of you feel that sometimes the parent passes the child on to you and thinks you're the magic and you're going to do everything? It's the first thing I actually say to my parents. I hold meet and read sessions before we even start lessons, and I say to them, I don't call magic. I am not a magician here. What I do is give your children the ingredients they need. But if they are, you can't, you take your horse to water. I do talk about how it is their consistent effort and focus and motivation. And I'm here to keep motivating your children, and I'm here to enthuse them, inspire them, but they still need the discipline as well. And part of what I do is spend time working with parents, because they, even if they need 4 or year 3, some of them just expect their children to be able to get on with it. And I do keep trying to work. That might be something we talk about another time. And, a lot of the time the parents are saying, oh, well, he did it, but it was all wrong and he did it badly and blah, blah, blah. And I've said, well, what was the consequence of that? And they look at me like, well, that's your problem. And I'm like, actually, no. The way you are going to help your child to manage this process is to help them become independent. How do you expect to get really a 4-year-old to be independent? They can't even tie up that shoelace all the time, and you're expecting them to have a work program where they know to sit down. What child is going to sit down at 4 o'clock and start working? Some might, but a lot of them won't. So we talk a lot about how they and the child and me, we're all collectively responsible to help their child achieve the best result they can. And often I don't even talk about passing the exam. I get every lot of time talking to students about being your best self. I personally don't assess before I take on a child. And what I mean by that is, in my area, there are lots of big corporations who assess children and will only take home a child or you achieve a certain amount. How can be it because they're needed them, of course. But anyway, that's by the by. But what I say to them, I will assess your child over the first term, and I will be completely honest with you. And I will tell you what I thought their potential is based on, previous experiences. And I'm very honest with them. In fact, I've just had a meeting with a parent saying, at this moment in time, based on how your child is performing and looking at key indicators, I don't think they will pass. And they said, yes, that they love the lesson. They want to keep coming. It's the third time they've actually worked independently and want to work and want to learn. So for me, it's like, well, I'm going to keep them on. As long as they can keep up, I will keep them on. And so for me, rather than talking about passing, we talk about progress, we talk about learning, we talk about love of it, we talk about the experience it's going to be, we talk about what they're going to learn from it. And I'll be honest with you, I keep getting amazing results every year. Amazing results. I've got children whose parents said we just thought we'd come and they'd enjoy their lessons. We never actually thought they'd pass, and then pass, and it is incredible. But I think it's that change in focus, getting off the outcome being passing, and it being about with quality learning and achievement. So that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. So, question, what is this for the 11 class? Why do all the parents want it so much? Give me some ideas. Why do they want to send their job? Just want to give my child the opportunity, but they don't want to define what opportunity. But why do they want to go to grammar school? I'm talking grammar school in particular here, if I'm honest. We can apply it to posh private school as well.
Because they know that the atmosphere and ethos of grammar school is very different to a school of Albans.
Thank you. What else?
Yeah, there's about setting that because all the kids do coming have gone through that exam. So it's like you learn through that.
I love it. Great idea.
For me, status.
I love it. I don't think that's
That like well, and also like potentially better opportunities to overseas school and go up at and university. They all see set up learning. Okay,
yes.
sometimes it's because everybody in the family's always
History.
always done that.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a friend who went to Tiffin, so his son has gone to Tiffin. Interesting. So, absolutely they look at the need tables. As I said, Wilson, which is, I can walk to Wilson's. In fact, when they did their spectrum eligibility test, I walked up to it to chat to some of the parents and the kids. They perceive, based on league tables, that they get the best academic grades. And often they do. In my area, some of them are dropping. Interesting. The quality of teaching. This is a big one as well, I think. Possibly because maybe the behaviour's better than quality of teaching. You know, they kind of go together. Bingo, opportunities. Though, in a way, why should that be? You know, all schools have opportunities for sport, music, etc. But maybe it's the plunging. I don't know. You know, this is what it's because it, as you said, the cohort, better behaviour. I had a parent that I had to have a one-to-one meeting with because his son perceived it to do incredibly badly in the mocks, and she was saying absolutely he cannot go to anything but a grammar school because you will be mixing with some prank repeat like this. What are you going to do if he does a posh stuff? I'm going to send him back to his own country and go toward you. There's very fixed ideas about her war. So, interestingly, so you said they were in school for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, so I've done that.
That was you. So interestingly, I caught a student who, unfortunately, I didn't run the 11 plus groups before he took the exam. He went to someone whom he didn't like, he didn't study, and didn't get into grammar school. He got out well.
Should qualify as saying that it's not that I left the school gave them comprehensive.
Oh, this is no. Oh my gosh, they're awful. So this chap, he ended up at college, Alton Boys, and you probably don't know that school, but it's got a mixed reputation. Some people love it, some people don't. And he thought it was an absolute failure. Funny enough, it was his sister who ended up coming to me, and his mum was the one who said, "Oh, I don't think she'll ask," and she did. So I taught him till year 7, all the way up to year 11. He got 10 9s at a so-called rubbish school. And a lot of courses we know is to do with backgrounds. As you probably all know, the key factor of academic success is not the school. And I tell parents this in my beginning meeting at the beginning of the year as well. It is what? It's headline, exactly. And this is what I tell them, but that's what they look like. I don't know sugar. I do headline. Okay. But, they have this, this fixation. The point I'm making is he then obviously got into Wellington Grammar, called sixth form, spent 2 days there, went back to Colombo, preferred it. So I have all these anecdotes to try and help parents realise it isn't the end of the world. And we'll come to that at the end. So I asked my students at the beginning of the year, I do a little all about mean sheet. And on the year 5, with some of the worries they have, just the best said, what do you think their worries are? Other than that, 11 plus, failing, simply more than that. I didn't ask them specifically about the 11 plus, it just was, what were you worried? Tell them what you think. In the whole wide world, what are their worries?
Two or three. So
what do you think they have? This was okay, here's all the things they said. Summer planning. I have an older side of a birthday. Nearly always rains on. In fact, he did rain on my birthday. Oh, people, yeah. This same voice said ice cream vans. I thought I'd still follow that up. I don't understand that one. Maybe I had a creepy experience. I bet we don't think of it. Yes,
Lux and
that one really hit me. Not bigger than the 11 plus, isn't it, that one? You know, what if their dream is to be a YouTuber, which so many of them is. Do they need? Anyway, then we did have a few, what happened? Right, that pass with big ones, big one. Let me just check. I don't know what's on to the next slide. It's a book. Yeah. Now, so stated, yep, I'm dealing with disappointing with currents. Okay. I will comes back.
I have a lot of minds, you know, they're mostly Russian speaking, and you know, the families, they're quite wealthy, and all the kids, I mean, 99%, they're very, very afraid to disappoint their parents, because their parents make sure that their kids all should be in the chapter house, eating the wrestling stuff, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't accept like box or something like.
I know box sale.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I had worked with some of those parents.
Yeah.
The very first thing I think you could do is remember, what is it you can control? What is out of your control? Now, what I can control in that situation is how I model unconditional acceptance to my duty, and how I model effort, I'd phrase effort, progress, attainment. But I do think it is about, obviously, I'm sure you do, having regular dialogue with parents and constantly reminding them of what they can do and what your student is able to do now that they couldn't do last week. And what you might want to do is actually visually write it down, almost like a progress ladder. Even have, what age do you work with? Year 3, year 4, all the way up to year 5? Yeah. So almost like every half term, having a progress ladder of everything that they are learning.
Same thing in 1 month, each part.
Sure. Yeah, however you want to do it. But, you know, visually tracking how well they are doing. So it's like, almost like evidence. Look how well your child is doing. The problem, I think a lot of parents have this, they only ever see me involved. Yeah, with children, I did 2 paper classes this week, a bit like mock tests. I did the multiple choice grammar school one, and then I did a writer one. And it was online, and I had about 20 kids. And on day 1, I'll call him Arjun, it's better than calling him N. Arjun did really badly. And I could see him panicking online, and we like chatting to him, going, "You're doing great," all like this. And at the end of the lesson, his mum said, "It's a disaster." She's a lovely mum, by the way. And it was like, okay, well, how are we going to manage this for tomorrow? Because we don't want the same thing to happen. And it was really interesting. I said to him, what will happen if today, this exam today that we're practicing, you don't finish? He said, "Oh, I'm going to take the school and I might have a good job." And I'm like, whoa. He's year 5. And it's like, they're projecting into the future. It's all about projection. And I think what we need to do as tutors is bring it back down to what's happening now. I'm actually a mindfulness for children qualified teacher as well, and I do yoga and blah. And I'm constantly having to bring them into the present. And I think that's really important, keep them in the present. Okay, occasionally, like this child, I have to speak to the parents and say, "Look, I want to be really honest with you, because I don't want to take your money if you absolutely understand that your child might not pass, but you're still, I'm very honest with them." But on a day-to-day basis, it's about them now. What are they doing now? What are they doing better than they did yesterday? And I think that's one of the key things to keep bringing it back to. Not in it, and if you think that's that old saying about 1% of improvement every lesson, that 1% becomes 2%, 1% and 2% becomes this, 1% of the next percent, you get it. So it's constantly reminding them of the little steps. There's that medium, isn't there, of the big step ladder and the the tiny steps, and it's just bringing it back to that. We can talk more options if you want. So, by the way, with Arjun, what I did was I said, "Hang on a second. So why do you feel this? When did this all start happening, your panic over exams?" He said, "It's the first time I did it. I panicked, and now I realize I always panic when an exam happens." I said, "Well. You panicked once." I said to him, I go swimming sometimes. I'm not a very good swimmer. I learned to dive, but on my final assessment for diving, I had a massive panic attack. Do you think I still don't go diving? He said, no, I think you're going diving. I'll be pictured. And it's like, yes, because I realised that was on one of incident. And it's a bit like, a bad day doesn't make a bad life. I said, you've taken this one incident and you've now associated it with panicking, and now you're choosing to panic. And I said to him, I'm going to tell you today, pardon, he said his name, I want you to say these things, and I'm going to iron this on that, and we did some affirmations and we breathed. But then I said, I want you to choose not to panic, and I want you to choose to stay calm. He wrote 2 pages that day in half an hour in his writing exam, and he's coming up here and this is all online, by the way, so you know, different boy. So it's taking that projection he had over a year's time, bringing it back today. What can I do today? And I did say to him, what's the worst that can happen? Now, you know, is your head going to explode? What's going to happen? Is that I can get away with talking about it. Right. You know, it's seeing and a full in. If you don't finish, you don't finish, so more. You've got a year to go. You still would have done really paragraphs, but he did finish. So, highs. Come on, guys. What are your highs of teaching the 11 plus? What do you love about it? That's a good start.
I think there's always one area that they shine on, and you just pick them up on that.
Exactly. Always looking for the positive. You know all that stuff about positive psychology in your brain, and but I think I did a post about glimmers one. Rather than looking for things that trigger you, look for things that bring joy. And it's the same, constantly looking for glimmers, looking for the positive. And you're right, every child has positives. What else?
I see the same code week in, week out.
That's all right, don't worry. We're so good, aren't we?
I'm feeling like I'm starting to get I get to know other members of the family, I have emotions. I love all that.
And the only is, although, like, I only ever see 14 to 18 children in a group once a week. You'd think I wouldn't know them. But, you know, some of them have been coming to me since year 3. I'm lucky because I do carry on till year 11. I've seen children, like, in fact, no, I can't remember. Yeah, I taught a boy from year 4 all the way up to year 11. That is amazing. And although it's only once a week, think of those hours over that time, much more so than just a teacher in schooling them.
Anything but connections as well. Absolutely. Of course, when there is connection, you get to know more about the child, the family, the traditions.
Totally. In fact, I'm going to a Diwali festival next week, invited by someone, and that, you know, I take that as a real privilege.
Absolutely.
And I could say so many things, so many small wins, the small wins, but particularly with NVR, I tutor English maths NVR, and I think a lot of children come to NVR and they've never done it before. Some are super talented and they just know it straight away, and so many schools say, oh, you can't teach it, and I don't need to be tutored. You can't think it's proficient anyway. And my needs to be a child improve from, you know, it just.
Can I just say, it is 1 o'clock. I'm going to go by about 10 minutes, so we're okay with that. Yes. Please, I won't be offended if you leave.
Yeah.
And you want to
be, I always like to be able not just to teach them 11 plus, be able to develop them into actually teach them about the world, talking about things. Because I remember a student of mine, you know, he was 6 months at Wellington, he got the weakness of the education got at Wellington College, was that he knew about subjects, but knew nothing about Wellbeing.
Yes, I mean, off topic, but I with my GCSEs, we look at, that's called wall photographer. They don't know any of the walls. So the first thing we do is discuss, I mean, it's a horrible topic, but we talk about, you know, the ward that are mentioned in there and the thing they don't know. So here are some of the highs anyway. The progress. I mean, I did talk to the mother of twins, who I said, look, we've come to the end of year 4. Both the kids had got amazing certificates from school for their progress, but I know they won't pass the 11 plus in theory based on their data. The mother knows, but she said when she spoke to them about whether they wanted to stop, they burst into tears. They really want to do it because of the progress they are making. I don't care about past breaks. pass rate. Some people do, I don't. I'm about the progress.
Do you publish pass rates? Because I get asked that a lot.
I do if I'm asked. And do you know what? Nearly every time they're about 92%. And my second stage for the consistent year, I only teach English though, so it's a bit it's a bit difficult. This is why I don't publish them. But I can from what I've heard from my students, I've actually had 100% this year. But 2 people failed, but they failed on maths. So I don't really, there's a lot. But that's why I don't publish them, because I only teach English. But they're pretty consistent. If you're passionate about what you do, you are going to pass on that love of learning. And they love it. And this is why, as I said to you, this girl whose parents I spoke to, they said, don't worry about that. She loves coming. This is the first time she had loved her learning. So what can I say? We are working at a high level. We are working towards the 11 plus, but this girl loves learning. Yes, we can't deny there is a thread of success. But I think we do have to be careful with how we view success. Sure. So, when you're talking about success with your children, is that just about passing? Now, one child who didn't pass the first stage, but the parents weren't even sure he did even do anything. He was very new to the country. He came up to me, and the way he cried, his result was